Hello and welcome back to my second podcast. So the comments from my first podcast were fantastic. Thank you so much to everybody who took the time to respond to my questions. So it appears that you do want to see what I'm getting up to with my knitting and crochet and more crafty side of my life. And so I'm going to talk to you about some of the things that are on my needles and on my hook, some of the things I've discovered, some bits and bobs that I want to show you, some events, and if you watch to the end, I'm going to have a giveaway for you because everybody likes a competition. So it would appear that you don't want to just listen, you do want to see as well. So I've decided I am going to make this podcast very much a video podcast. So I will have lots of things to show you and be able to point you in the direction of various bits and bobs. So I'm going to start by talking about what's on my needles. Now, nothing much has changed, I have to admit. As you know from my last podcast, I'm not a massive knitter, I'm only just learning. And so... someone at the door. Hang on a moment. Typical, you've got to love an interruption. That was one of my little boy's friends knocking to see if he wanted to come and play. But he's not here. He's at after school club. So anyway, what's on my needles? So nothing much has changed. I have got my hole fixed in my hitchhiker shawl. So I did have a big hole right about here. The lovely Carol, our knitting teacher, didn't really know what I'd done, if she was honest, so she couldn't show me, but she has fixed it, and that's the most important thing. I have done a couple more pattern repeats on it, but not very much, so it's still very much a work in progress. However, one thing I do have to show you is a completed something, although not completely completed. I have a sock. Look at that. My very first sock. I am so proud of this. It's got its lovely ribby cuff. Look at that. It's got a heel, which I turned properly myself. Can you see that? Look at all that shaping. It's got a toe that's been grafted together, and I'm so proud of it. I must say, when I was grafting my toe, I spectacularly threw my toys out of my pram. I could not get to grips with the instructions, and as patient as Carol, our knitting teacher, is, I had a massive hissy fit. In fact, it was quite embarrassing. So I'm really sorry, Carol. I'll try not to do it again. But I did have a massive hissy fit. I've decided, I know why, the instructions was just one big solid block of text, and I really don't work very well like that. I need it broken down with spaces in between each line so I can say, right, do this bit, done that, do this bit, done that, and so on. And Carol's very kindly rewritten the pattern and broke it all down for me. So now that I'm making my second sock, hopefully that won't happen again. So we did this in class at my studio at Beautiful Things. We did the cuff and the leg in our first lesson. We did the heel in our second lesson and went on to do the rest of the foot. And then we did the toe shaping and the grafting in our third lesson. So if you want to learn how to make socks on DPNs and you live in Essex, then Carol will more than happily run this class again. One of the pupils who was on the class with me was my mum, and she's actually put me to shame because she has almost completed her second sock. The only thing she hasn't done is grafted the toe, and she just needs to rejig her stitches onto her DPNs. To be able to do that, so she's just seeking some help in doing that this weekend, and no doubt she'll have a finished pair of socks. That did spur me on though last night to sit down with my knitting and get it back out again, so I'll show you how far I've got. So this is my sock. I'm on row 48, I think. Oops, oh, these things are so dangerous. Row 48, I think. So it's still precariously balanced on its cocktail sticks, but it's getting there. And what I'm really super proud of is that I've done this all by myself. So I haven't had any help. It's just remembering what I've learnt in class. So I'm going to carefully put that back in its little case. I showed you these before. These are our little DPN holders. I love them. They're really sweet. And we're making lots of these at the moment. as a company, we're exhibiting at Yarndale in Skipton at the end of September to sell our online virtual courses. But we are going to have lots of products there to sell as well, including the DPN holders, our lovely project bags. These are really nice box-bottomed drawstring bags. And we've also designed these little notions pouches, which I think are really sweet. There's nothing in this one, so it's a bit squished, but they're like little pyramids. Are they cute? We've got a little zip in them, so they're just like a little zipper pouch, but they're little pyramids. I just thought they were a little bit different, a little bit sweet. I think I'll probably put a little loop on it somewhere, so you could attach stitch markers if you've got like a key ring or something like that if you wanted to. But there's just enough room in there for a little pair of scissors and some needles and bits and bobs, so you chuck it in your knitting bag and you're not going to lose all your bits and bobs. Speaking of bits and bobs, while we're talking knitting, I'm going to show you a little thing that I picked up for myself the other day. It kind of crosses over between knitting and crochet. I was in Oxfordshire last week for a friend's wedding, and we went to a little shop. It was an art shop, but right at the back there was a little haberdashery. So I always like to buy myself a little sewy or crafty treat when I'm away. And I picked up this gorgeous little tin. Isn't it sweet? It just says little bits and pieces. It's a Rachel Ellen's designs. They're everywhere. You can find them in most gift shops. I used to sell them in the shop myself, but it's just a nice little tin that I thought I could put my bits and bobs in. I also picked up some stitch markers. Now these are just normal pony stitch markers for crochet, but look at the colours. Aren't they lovely? So bright yellow, orange, hot pink, and this lovely teal green. We've got some that we sell at the studio, but they're just green, black, red and blue, I think, which is really boring. So I know when I go back to the supplier, I'm going to see if I can find these nice, bright coloured ones. But then these have just arrived in time to show you today. I ordered these from Etsy after seeing a link on Facebook yesterday, and they arrived today, so really pleased with that. One of my clients, Lorraine, has ordered these in the past, and they're by a company called Friperies and Bibelots. Now I can't remember what Bibelots means. I was told today by Elspeth it's French for bits and bobs, something like that. Little things, Friperies, I'm not sure, but the company's called Friperies and Bibelots. Anyway, I said Bibelots, and she laughed at me. But they're called Ringos, and they come in a lovely little tin like this, and they come in lots of different colourways. This one's called Peacock. Now, when you open it up, I'm just going to take out something else that's in here. I'll show you that in a minute. Ooh. But when you open it up, you can see all these tiny little rings. Ooh, can you see those? They're really sweet. They look a little bit like body jewellery, you know, like nose rings. But they are knitting stitch markers. These ones are really, really, really tiny. So they're ideal for working with my tiny little DPNs. Can you see how small that is? There we go, hold it up there, you go, you can see. Really, really teeny tiny. But with the tin, she also sent me a little free gift, thank you very much, which was a slightly larger stitch marker, so in a nice hot pink. And because it's Wimbledon at the moment, she's doing, oh no, I've just dropped them all over the floor. Never mind, I'll find them in a minute. She's done this little tennis racket, just a little stitch marker with a little lobster clasp on. So I thought that was quite a sweet little free gift. I do like a free gift. So that's my knitting kind of journey at the moment. So it's not really changed much from when I last spoke to you. I don't see it changing that quickly. I just simply don't have the time really to sit down and knit. And I've got an awful lot of sewing and crochet related projects with work at the moment that are kind of taking up my time. But I will try my best to get my knitting underway a bit more. I'm off to Fibre East. I'm trying to think when that is. I think it's mid-August, beginning of August, mid-August, I can't remember. I'm off to Fibre East with a couple of the girls from work, which is in Bedfordshire. I've never been before, but that's apparently full of very much a lot of indie dyers, spinners, lots of unusual, interesting things. So I'm hoping to get some inspiration there and find some patterns I might like to try. But I'm also really looking forward to meeting up with some other vloggers. So I was going to put this at the end, but actually it comes in really, really nicely. So There's a few other vlogs that I follow. I could follow loads, but again, it's the time frame. They're nice for me to be able to watch, to obviously get inspiration from my own vlog, and my own podcast, but also they're nice to just have on in the background while you're doing your crochet or you're doing your knitting. Sometimes there's nothing on the telly and it's nice to just tune into them. So I've always watched the Sew Over It vlog with Lisa Comfort. I've watched that since she started it just over a year ago, and I've really enjoyed watching how she's come on as an individual but also as a business. Obviously what she has is something I'd really aspire to. My business is you know, does everything hers does with regards to the classes side of things, and obviously we would like to be as big as they are one day, but we'll get there eventually. I like watching her blog and her vlog very much because she doesn't just review her own patterns, she does also review other sewing patterns and other fabrics as well, which is nice. So although obviously she does it predominantly to enhance her business, she's aware that there's other things that need to be shared out there, and I think that's something that I very much like to do as well. I want to encourage you to go and buy things from other independent businesses. So yeah, go and visit Fripperies and Biblo on Etsy, go and buy their Ringos, but then at the same point I want you to come and spend your money with me. So come and have classes with me, come and buy some of our bits and bobs from our stall at Yarndale, and do come and say hello. So other people that I watch, I've recently been introduced to 2 other vlogs. Now they're both knitting vlogs. One of them is lovely because it crosses over from knitting into sewing, and that is one called Inside Number 23. A lovely lady called Katie does that vlog. She also goes by the name of Miss Lavelli, so you might have heard of her as Miss Lavelli. She's massively into her vlogging. She has a weekly podcast. Now I couldn't keep up with that, but she does have a weekly podcast, and her podcasts are almost an hour long, sometimes a bit over an hour, so she really does dedicate her time to her podcast. She also does some fantastic vlogs of days out, trips around and about. It was her trip to London that inspired me to do my trip to London with the girls video, and I was really pleased with how that turned out. So yeah, Miss Lavelli, or Inside Number 23, well worth watching. It is predominantly knitty. She's a superb knitter. She's got lots and lots of fans across the world. She's got a Ravelry group as well. But she also sews, and she reviews patterns and enjoys dressmaking, but she works with projects that are quite intricate. She's recently just showed us a fantastic dress that she made, which is a big 1950s pleated bust. It had horsehair braid in it, it had boning in it, it was fantastic. It's a lovely garment. I'd be really tempted to try it if I didn't think it would take me 2 months to make. So yeah, go and see Inside Number 23, go see Katie. Can you see the train going past? Sorry. Katie is also going to be at Fibre East and is planning a meet-up, so I'm hopefully going to try and meet her in the person and not be too stalkerish if I can help it. The last person that I want to mention is another lovely lady. She's called Vero, and she's a French-Canadian, I believe. I'm sorry, Vero, if that's not true. But she's a lovely lady living now in the UK. And her YouTube channel is called Along the Lanes, and she does, again, predominantly knitting and fibre based, but she's generally really crafty, so she will talk about other crafts. Her latest vlog, she talked about making her own rubber stamps, spray painting pinboards, various bits and pieces, so that was interesting to watch. And she is very into her cameras and her filming techniques and filming equipment, so she also talks about her setup and the films that she uses and the cameras that she uses. She does days out as well. She's done a really good video of her visit to the Edinburgh Wool Festival. Is that what it's called? Wool Fest? Edinburgh Yarn Festival, wherever it was. I'm not yarny enough, obviously. I need to be educated. But that was a really good vlog to watch, and it's very happy. She uses lots of happy music, lots of nice little techniques, lots of fast forwarding and watching her work, watching her craft, and generally just it's a really nice vlog to watch. So they're my recommendations. I don't have any more though. I say I don't have time, but I'd probably make time if you could recommend some for me. So based on those three and based on what I like, so more sewing probably more than knitting, I'd like to find a crochet podcast that I enjoy watching. I've tried a few, but they're all a bit slow and a bit I know I am an a lot, but I try to be a bit chitty chatty with you and not be too ummy and ahry. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, and those of you that watch crochet podcasts, find me some fun ones. Hopefully this will become a fun one, she says. So I'm going to talk to you now about what I'm crocheting. So what's on my hooks? Now, I haven't crocheted for a while. It's been a little while, but I'm getting ready to film next Friday our next semi-virtual crochet course. And I'm going to try and do 2 courses in one day. Keeps costs down a little bit, but it is hard work and it's absolutely exhausting. So I've got lots of preparation to do. So the first one I'm going to film is our Amigurumi Cactus Garden here. Now this is going to be a course and kit that we are going to launch exclusively at Yarndale. So if you want to get your hands on this, you have to come to Yarndale. If there's any left over after Yarndale, then we will put it on general sale, but we're not making any promises. We're going to take a limited number with us to Yarndale. So it's predominantly Amigurumi, the little star cactus here and these tall ones. This little barrel cactus is regular crochet, and this curly whirly one is just magic. It is regular crochet, but it is magic. We're going to do an online course that talks you through how to make the whole thing from start to finish, and you'll be provided with all of the yarn to do it, the hook to do it with, an instruction book, and the video obviously, so that you can follow along and make it with me. The only thing you'll need to buy, because they're a bit heavy to post, is a cereal bowl, and these are available in Tesco, Sainsbury's, the pound shop, just a regular cereal bowl, and it doesn't matter what size because we'll teach you how to make the soil to be the right size to fit. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. Obviously, if I was to sit and film that, it takes me nearly a day, probably a day and into an evening to make a whole one of those, and would waste filming time. So I've got to do a lot of here's one I made earlier and get certain cacti to certain points so that I can show you a bit and then pick up one I've made earlier, show you another bit. So I'm really having to get my thinking cap on to work out the schedule for filming and work out where I need to interchange with one I made earlier, and so therefore make all the various bits and pieces, and it's hurting my head if I do say so, but I will get there, I'm sure. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. So I've got a big bag down there full of green yarn. There's nothing to show you at the moment because that is on the agenda to start tomorrow afternoon, all of Monday and all of Thursday. So I'm on an absolute mission with that one. The other thing I'm working on is for our second course. Now we are going to be launching a tea cozy class online, again semi-virtual, for Christmas, or in time for Christmas, so that you can make these as Christmas presents. It's going to be in these colours here. These are Stylecraft yarns, and they are going to, I thought this was quite a nice colour palette. It's a bit vintagey, shabby chicy Cath Kidston, but still a bit bright. So it's kind of halfway between going bright and pastel vintagey. So I thought that was a nice colourway, so I've picked those with everybody in mind. Again, you'll get all the yarns, the instruction book and the hooks in your kit. So again, I'm having to get one of these completely finished so that you can see the finished article. This is what they will look like. So I've got this one I've had for years. You can see I've had this for absolutely yonks. I do like the colours, but it's all random mixtures of yarn. I think there's a bit of Aldi yarn in there and all sorts, so we're not going to use this one. So, oops, hopefully it wobble my table. So I've had to make a complete one so that we can have a photograph and it can be on the table and I can say this is what you're going to be learning to make. But I also need to get a couple of them halfway done so I can show you the shaping and all the different steps. So I've got, again, lots of flowers on the go, lots of leaves on the go, and again I'm working through my filming schedule for that. So that is on the cards. So what else did I want to talk to you about? I've got a list over here, I think. Yeah, I think that's everything. Oh, that's not too bad. So I was worried about time, wasn't I? I said, you know, I thought an hour was a bit too long for a podcast. But I'd just tell you everything I wanted to tell you in as short a time as I could. So at the moment we're on, coming up for 19 minutes. So I think we'll probably be just over 20, which I guess that's okay. I think I'm just going to still keep playing this by ear. I'm very new to it, so I think as we go, I'll make myself a list of bits and pieces I want to talk to you about and film them. And sometimes they might be long, sometimes they might be short. So the last thing I want to do is have a giveaway for you. So this is for all of you who have watched this podcast and still can't get to grips with crochet. I am going to give away one of my semi-virtual crochet courses. Now, if you're not sure what that is, go and watch my first podcast because I explain it to you in full detail and explain how our courses work. They're for anybody, anywhere. The giveaways for anybody across the world to enter. And you will win one of our semi-virtual courses. So that will give you access to the online courses and it will get you a kit posted out to you for you to work from. And it's a beginner's crochet course. So it will teach you the double crochet, the half treble, the treble and the slip stitch. And it will teach you to read a pattern. So if you don't know how to do that and you want to learn, then you need to enter. So to enter, what you need to do is you need to go to our website, www.semivirtualcourses.com. You need to sign up for the mailing list. Now, we will only send emails probably not even once a month, just to let you know when we've got new products on the market. So sign up to the mailing list and then you need to comment below to say, I would like to learn to crochet in big capital letters. You can put other stuff as well, by all means do. But at the start of your comment, I want you to say, I would like to learn to crochet. And if you do that, I will put all of the names into a hat. And when I do my next podcast, I will draw a name from a hat and then you can get in contact with me so that we can send you your kit. But I will double check that you have signed up to the mailing list. And if you haven't signed up to the mailing list, then I'm afraid your entry will be null and void. So we want to spread the word about our courses out there. They're selling slowly because we're new and we really want to flood the market. It is a good course, if I do say so myself. You've only got to go and look at some of the social media that we've had from people to see how well they've been getting on with it. So please do spread the word. Tell your friends. Tell them to come and watch this podcast. Tell them, even if they want to fast forward to the end, just to find out how to enter and do enter our competition so that I can give away one of my beginner's crochet courses. So that's all I've really got to tell you. As I say, your comments are really vital to me. Do please let me know what you think. Give me some advice on what you want to see, what you want to hear, what you want me to talk about, what I'm doing wrong. And I will say bye-bye for now. So bye-bye for now.